Hey everybody, it's Andrea and I'm coming at you from Berkeley, California. This is my home, this is where I make the magic, and thank you for coming into this class, for joining me in treasure seeking and joy seeking and just being in this creative space with me. It's a real pleasure to have you, so thank you. And what I wanted to start by sharing is just sort of the genesis of this class and why this practice feels so personal to me and so vital. And you might think that from the classes that I teach about cultivating wonder or joy or magic, that I feel great all the time. And actually, if you knew me really well, you would know that the opposite is true, that I'm a really joyful spirit and I'm really creative and playful and fun. And I also skid on the rocks pretty regularly, by which I mean I tumble down into really dark places, and I do that pretty cyclically, I would say. Sometimes it has to do with, or a lot of the times it has to do with the circumstances of my life, but it's also just my biology and my pattern and my stuff. I know I'm not alone in that. So, and that's maybe why you're here too, is because we want to feel buoyant and we want to create practices that help us find our magic and find our lightness and find our sparkle again. Maybe especially when we feel like we're in those low places. And so I want to acknowledge that. And I also want to say that for everyone, you've probably heard this by now. I first heard it from Rick Hansen, who's a neuroscientist here at UC Berkeley. He talks about, well, there's sort of neuroplasticity, and then there's the negativity bias. And the negativity bias is that because we're still wired for like running away from predators, running away from tigers or something, we're neurologically always scanning for what's wrong. So even if we don't notice it, there's some part of our brain that's like, is this safe? What's going on here? And that translates into a kind of low grade anxiety that's all kind of going on in the background, even when we're not aware of it. And to get ourselves, and that's sort of, he calls that the red zone, and to get ourselves into the green zone, it's like we have to train our brain again. This is where the neuroplasticity lives, which is the fact that we can train our brain and we can shape our brain to be stronger in these areas. We can train our brain to scan for what's good and create a habit of scanning for what's good. And that's where creative practices have been an incredible tool for me, because when I pick up my camera and I'm looking out in the world like, okay, I've got my camera, I have this assignment, I have this prompt, or I just have this sort of question in my mind of like, what's beautiful and what's interesting in my view right now? And it teaches me to scan for what's beautiful and interesting and magical and reverent. It gives me this feeling of reverence for the natural world, and or even for the sort of urban landscape where you can find all sorts of magical things on the sidewalk. It trains you to see that crinkled candy wrapper that's like bright red and it's sitting on the green lawn, and you're like, oh, something lights up in you like, ooh, I like that. And then maybe you capture it with your camera. And that practice alone has taken me out of so many, not even like super dark places, but just keeps me kind of buoyant in my life and keeps me conscious of the state that I'm in and the vibration. I think some people would relate to this as like a vibration thing. It's like keeping your vibration high, staying in a place closer to gratitude and closer to presence than unconscious, fear-based, automatic responses, which is sort of our default. So if it helps to think of the joy seeking is really like It's about presence. It's about, it could be about gratitude. We could talk about it in like 20 different ways, but I just want to offer that as like joy seeking for me is finding little bits of joy in maybe unexpected places and making a habit of doing so using our camera as a tool. That's what I want to share with you today. I'm so excited that we're going to do it together, and I'll get to be thinking of you as I do all the prompts. I haven't done some of these prompts at all, and I haven't done all of them in a very long time, and so I'm excited to dive in with you and share. All right, here we go. Yay!